Hey gang, we're now moving on. We're into photo retouching, which is Unit 8 for us. We're going to mess around with a couple of lessons in the book. We got some actual pictures that were taken that have some blemishes in them that we're going to fix with Photoshop. As you notice my screen, you'll notice I'm not in Photoshop to begin with. I kind of wanted to give you an idea of what we're talking about in terms of the tools that Photoshop uses to fix pictures. In order to do that, I wanted to compare some befores and afters of some pictures here. So bear with me as we work through Bridge primarily, just to kind of pull these pictures up just so that you can see what the difference is between the two pictures. I'm going to navigate into my Dropbox, which you should do as well. We're going to go grab a couple of files here. So I'm going to go into my documents. I'm within Bridge here. I go into my Dropbox. We're going to go into the Photoshop folder here. Double click Photoshop. Lessons. Lesson 3 is the one we want. And you'll see the 6 pictures. I'm going to pull up my thumbnails here too, so you can actually see how big they are here, or a bigger shot of these. All right, these are in different orders here, but you've got your starts are on your right. So this is the picture that we start with. So we got 3 different pictures here we're going to work with. First, we're going to use this grass and statue picture. We're going to throw some text on there. You'll notice the torn edge of the picture is fixed over here. We filled in with some grass, and there's some sprinkler heads that are around here that we kind of filled in with some grass. So we're going to use a couple of tools to be able to do that. Over here, we've got a rock climber out here in the rocks, and you've got some crevices and all kinds of stuff, pock marks in the rocks that we're going to fix on this side. And lastly, we're going to take a picture of this older guy, and we're going to work on his eyes and get rid of some wrinkles and that kind of stuff. So there's some really cool tools within Photoshop that allow you to do that. Most of them deal with brushes and healing and red eye correction and those kinds of things. So within Bridge, as you know, I can fire up Photoshop. But what I'm going to do is take 03A Start, which is the picture of the statue, the ripped ones, and I'm just going to double click on that one and give my machine a second, and it should fire up in Photoshop here. So there it is in Photoshop. I'm going to close my character palette here. Keep your layer palette open, and I'm going to expand this picture and kind of zoom in just so I can get into the working area. You'll notice I got 2 sprinkler heads over here, which we're going to get rid of. And I've got this corner piece over here, which I need to get rid of. We're going to fill in with some grass. So I'm going to kind of zoom into this bottom left corner. A little too much. Let me zoom out a little bit more, just so that I can work with it. First brush we're going to use, or the first tool we're going to use, I should say, is called the Clone Stamp tool. If you go down to your tool pad, you'll see it's about almost halfway down. It comes on a palette with the pattern stamp tool as well, but the clone stamp tool does not have a little indicator above in the top left. So make sure you're on the clone stamp tool. We're going to make some adjustments up here. Let me pull down my layer menu. I don't need that. So I actually need it. Just keep up your layer menu. We just got to make some changes to this. So we're on the clone stamp tool. I want the brush size. Click open the brush size. We're going to put the brush size at, what do we want? We want 75 soft round, which I go through my palette. These tend to be the soft rounds, but if I scroll down, I should have, if I don't have a 75, I'll force it to become a 75. Way down at the bottom, there it is right there. Go at the very bottom of the brush palette. So I go 75 soft round, and the mode is normal. Opacity is going to be 100%. Your flow is going to be 100%. So these are fine, 100% and 100%. You are going to, excuse me, we are going to keep it as a line. So we click on a line. And what we're going to do is, you'll notice, I can close the, just click on the picture again. It'll close your brush menu down. You'll notice you have a pretty good sized brush here. And what we want to do is, I want to go into the light grass over here. If you'll notice where my cursor is, I'm going to hold down the Alt key on the keyboard, right somewhere about here. Your cursor will change to a crosshair, and I'm just going to click once. I let go of the Alt key. My brush cursor comes back. And what I want you to do is go to the bottom left of the picture, and I want you to push down on the mouse button, and I want you to start painting right where the tear starts in the picture. And watch what starts happening. You actually see the marker move where it's starting to clone from. And if you get to a point where you're getting this to happen, you're basically getting too close. So what you do is you lift your mouse button off. You can go back through and start repainting again. Now let's say you get into an area where you need to reset your target. I'm going to go back up in here, hold the Alt key again. You can reset your target and you can actually start painting again, and it'll actually fill in with lawn. With a nice pattern effect like lawn, it's really so random that it actually fills in quite nice. It's kind of crazy. It fills in quite nicely. If there's a part that you don't like, just reset your marker, holding down the Alt key. Reset your cursor where it should be and start painting again, and it'll fill in. The clone tool is really cool because it also allows you to kind of put, kind of goofy things that happen. You could take somebody's head or face, and you can actually clone one of their eyes up on the top of their forehead. So you'll give somebody 3 eyes, that kind of an effect. So there's your first tool, clone stamp tool, and that works better when you got bigger areas to cover. Over here, you've got a couple of sprinkler heads. You could use the clone stamp tool if you really wanted to fix these, but there's another real cool tool. It's called the spot healing brush tool. 2 up from the clone stamp tool, you will see there's a bunch of tools in here. We'll get into the other 3 here as time moves on. But for this particular case, I want you to be on the spot healing brush tool. And again, it uses a brush to lay things out. So we got to make some measurement changes here with the brush. We are going to do 30 pixels for the brush. So let's go back here. Let's choose this. And we're going to change the diameter to 30 pixels. Hardness, I think we're going to keep all the same going on here. We're going to keep the hardness at 100%. And let me see. Let me just make sure. Yep, looks like we're just keeping the hardness at 100%. The only thing we're changing is the size of the brush, which is 30. I go and click in the picture. You'll see your cursor again is a brush. And what I'm going to do is, and watch as you keep your mouse button down, I'm just going to take a very quick brush stroke right across the sprinkler. You'll notice it'll turn gray for a second, but watch what happens the minute you let go of the mouse button. What it's going to do is, it's going to take the pixels around it, and it's going to try to adjust your brush mark based upon the pixels around it. Let me step back, and you can see what I did again. I'm actually going to, I don't like the diameter. I'm going to shrink. We're going to go down to 25. I think my brush is a little too big. There we go. That's probably a little bit better. And what I'm going to try to do is go just over the sprinkler head. And that worked out a little bit better for me. So I just got rid of that. We're in one sprinkler. I'm going to go over here and wipe out this sprinkler. Pretty cool tool right there as well. So last but not least, you'll notice there's already a text layer on here. So last but not least, just to finish off our picture, I click on the eyeball of the text. And I pull it out to see the actual pixels. Or actually, let me zoom out. Let me double click on the hand. And I can see the whole picture. And there we go. We have our finished product. You can save it if you'd like. But if you don't want to, that's fine too. That's a good start here. We're going to actually move into the rocks in the next module.